Good evening, everybody from Singapore and from Italy. Today, I am with somebody very special and very inspiring to all of us. I'm with Fatima and with her friend, Nazira, who is staying with her in the same house and is joining us for today's conversation. Hi, Fatima and Nazira, how are you?
Oh, hello everyone. I hope you are okay, healthy, and wealthy. Thank you for such a beautiful and nice live session, and it's my pleasure to talk to you all, guys. And Nazira is also sending her just regards. She's not a good in English, but she's listening to us. She understands, but her speaking is not that much well.
Awesome. So we have an extra guest for today's conversation. So Fatima is now in Italy. I believe you are outside of Milan, right? Somewhere near Milan, the capital, right?
Yeah, I'm in Italy, in the city of Piacenza. I think in quarantine right now.
Yes. And I guess you still don't know what will happen at the end of the quarantine, which is the end of this week, right?
Actually, because there were 4 positive cases, I think 7 more days our quarantine would be extended. Then after that, I think we will go to Milano. The friends who just managed the fundraiser for us to get us out of Afghanistan, they have also rented a house for our group. I think we will stay there if the just government let us.
Awesome. Okay. Well, that's good. At least you are not alone and you're with other people. So today we are going to talk about two things. First, I'd love to hear, and I'm sure everybody who is watching us will be interested to hear a little bit more about your story and how you became a tour guide in Afghanistan, and what drove you to become a guide, and how was your journey to do that. And then we are going to do a very nice little virtual tour of Afghanistan with the idea of showing places that most people watching us today probably have never seen about the country, right? All we see for quite a few years and decades is just conflict and war and despair. And today we wanted to bring a little bit more of a bright spot and look at the beautiful historical and heritage sites around the country. And you, as a tour guide, will be the best person to take us on a little virtual tour. So I'm going to start with the slides, and I want to start the presentation by thanking all the people who reached out to me with pictures from the country, because I've never been, so I didn't have any pictures to put together this presentation for today. So thank you to Untamed Borders and Kausar. Thank you to Jane, to Amanda, to Aurelie. So many people who reached out to me with pictures of the country. So thank you for helping me to put together the presentation. And so today, Fatima can take us on a little tour. So let's start by hearing a little bit more about you, Fatima. So can you tell me, I only heard about you first time back in March this year when the CNN Travel published an article about your story. But I'd love for you to tell us a little bit more about your story and how you became a tour guide.
Okay, thank you. First, let me thank you for just managing such a nice live session. And I'm happy if just I'm really far, I can talk from this window to people. Actually, to tell you about my story and just getting into tours, it extends back to when it means childhood. In my childhood, we were just living in another province of Afghanistan, which is called just Ghor province. Then there in Ghor province, I remember I was only 8 years old. I was just working as a shepherd. Somehow just running after those sheep and cows on the high hills was really a tough experience for me. But beside that, it was my pleasure too, because first I was introduced to a group there. No matter if that group were animals, but they were also groups, and I was enjoying just feeding them, and they were enjoying their life. So that was a kind of joy for me. For the first time, when I just hear the word of tourism, and also another nice word, education. My father had a really just small radio on that time. There was no TV in our village. Sometimes I just stole the radio of my father, or sometimes I talked to him and I borrowed his radio and took it with myself to the high hills, so I could find some signals of just BBC journalists and some other just radios that I do not remember, but they were not more than trees. But I remember the BBC journalists were talking together and discussing about education and also sometimes these tourism. But for the first time, I just learned what is the word of education there. And then, you know, in our area from the era of Taliban, it means 20 years ago, just the education for girls were forbidden. And even after Taliban, the families, due to their traditions and things, rules or regulations that remained from Taliban's era, they also just the education for girls were strictly forbidden. Only boys could go to school, but actually there were no school there. The boys were standing next to a river under just the shadow of a tree and on the sands. So the lucky thing about me was I was a shepherd and I could take my sheep there next to that school. There were some green grasses. My sheep just could feed themselves with those grasses, and hiddenly I could listen to the teacher who was just teaching those boys. And then just the Red Cross organization came there, so thanks to the Red Cross who just encouraged more and more family to let their girls go to educate. So luckily I was one of those girls. My parents let me go to school, at least because of the help that they received from the Red Cross. So in this way, I could just do my basic reading and writing. After that, when I was 10 years old, my father, due to family conflict, moved to Herat. In Herat, due to the cultural problem, because I was grown up in a village in a completely different culture, but here it was a city. And also the economic of my family was very weak, so I couldn't participate to school. But that was not something that makes me give up or do not continue my education. The education that I could just get it hiddenly in the village, but here it was a city. So I started to make some handicrafts, and my mother was just selling these handicrafts to the local shops. So by the money I could earn, I could buy some books, notebooks, and pen for myself. So by this, I could continue and resume my education for 3 years just at home. After that, when I was just watching the beautiful girls with beautiful school uniforms, that was just really hopeful for me. But in a way, they made me cry because I didn't have just that opportunity. So I thought with myself, and I was thinking, should I just continue like this or not? I have to do something. So I decided that I have to double making these handicrafts and earn more money. By this, I can participate to a private school. So I did that. For me, it was no difference. Days and nights, I was just making those handicrafts. And my mother, thanks to her, she was helping me by just selling them to the local shops. Then by the money, it means by making more handicrafts, I could earn more money. By the money I could earn, I could just participate to a private school there in Herat. So I just could start my school like that normally. And beside that, very soon there was an organization by the name of JRS, or Jesuit Refugee Organization, which offered free EFL classes for displaced refugees there in Herat. So luckily I could join them, and as I was working really hard, because that was a really important opportunity for me, who I didn't had such kind of chance before. So I started to just study my English very hard. So very soon, as the top position in the class, I was graduated as a EFL student. And then because my work was good there and they were satisfied of me, they just selected me as an assistant English teacher. They paid for me $50 per month, but there on that time, it was a lot for me to carry my education expenses. So as I just got started my education, and by the money I could earn, at the same time I was teaching those refugee girls English and my school. So when I finished my school, there is just a period of a concours preparation that those who had money they could participate that class. And concours is a university entrance exam. It is very hard. Just all those who finish school, they have to participate that school. If they were that exam, if they were successful, they can participate university. Otherwise, they would fail. So I didn't have the chance to participate that class, but I just got preparation with myself at home, and at the same time with just teaching. So successfully, when I attended to the exam, I was accepted as a university student in Herat University in my favorite field, which is journalist. You know, the reason I just chose to be a journalist, I wanted to write as I was just um, seeing and observing the situation of women, especially in my village where I was in my childhood. I wanted to reflect and write on their situations, circumstances, and also women's rights. So I chose to be a journalist. And the next reason, I for the first time, I heard the word of education from journalists. So that was the reason I chose to be journalist. Then after, at the same time that I started to be a university student, I started working on a project which was a research about the attractions of Afghanistan, particularly in Herat. So as I was doing my researches, I was also writing on Facebook on a travel diary group that it attracted the attention of many of my Facebook friends who were travelers. So day by day, many travelers were messaging me, and for the first time, there were two Ukrainian just guys who messaged me. Hi Fatima, we are coming to Herat. We do not have any tour guide, so if you are free, you just please show us your city. So I had lots of information about Herat, and I told them, yes, it's my pleasure. You can come. So for 2 days, I just showed them the city, the way I just showed the city to them, and the way I guided them. Before that, I even didn't know that being a tour guide is a kind of job. I knew that just tourists come from all around the world, but I didn't know about being a tour guide. So they just suggested me to the untamed border, means to the company. So when and the company contacted me when they came to Herat with a group. They just took me a test by guiding that group. So I just for 1 day I guided that group of tourists. So all of them were satisfied with everything, and also as the company observed me, so they hired me as a tour guide. So after it was January 2020. After that, I just continued to work as a tour guide, and just as my work was good and more tourists were satisfied with what I was doing there. So another company by the name of Silk Road, they also just suggested me to work and collaborate with them too, and also even another company by the name of Let's Be Friend, they also just suggested me that after university, because right now you have university, you are teaching your students, and also you are guiding tours. This much work at the same time, it is not possible. But once you finish your university, you will just work with us too. Uh, so I just was doing there were lots of challenging too. Beside being very joyful for me, this job was very challenging for me. For example, for the first time when I just told my family that I want to be a tour guide, and the company hired me as a tour guide, my father just shouted on me and told me that you are crazy. Are you going to carve your own grave? You are going to bury yourself. You want to start a job that's mostly and mainly you're going to work with men. You are just one girl and you have no colleague. So how do you want to start that? How the society's mind accept this, that you do this job? I just told them, Father, it is not the society's decision. It is not the society's life. It is my own life, and it is my own interest. Let me do and let me go my own way. So, although he advised me a lot to escape this, but I didn't. And my mother, she was telling, I'm worried about you, my daughter, it's dangerous for you. And each member of my family was sending a kind of negative energy to me that you cannot do this. uh, but when I just but I opposed them, and I told them, it is my life, let me go my own way. Then after, when I entered to the society to work as a tour guide, it was very strange for them and not acceptable for them. I remember days that they were insulting me on the streets when I was walking with my guests, especially if those guests were men. Even the people who were working as those who were responsible in historic and attraction sites, they were just sending me very negative energy. I remember they were telling me, you're a girl, you are going to put your guests in danger, you yourself, you are in danger, you would be kidnapped, and things like this. Or I remember there was a really old guy. I liked the stories he was just telling to my guests. But beside that, always when he just saw me on that historic side, it was a kind of shrine. He was telling me, "Oh, you just girl, you're again you. Why did you choose to work with foreigners, those who do not believe in Islam, or things like this that just somehow made me crazy." But in another way, they were, for me, surely they were sending me negative energies, but in another way they were positive energies for me that could just make me to be more stronger. And I was telling myself, Fatima, these are nothing, these are things that want you to be stronger. So by that way I could just fight more and more, even the society didn't accept. So as I was working, and in a way the society was getting very used to accept me, or even my parents. My mother, she was when just as she was used to see me as a tour guide, she was praying me. But my father, he never, even the day I just mm, even till the end of the tourism in Afghanistan, as Taliban captured there, he never just motivated me to do that. But at least it was good. He was not sending a negative energy anymore to me. So he was just telling me, so you chose your own way and you didn't accept what we said. So do whatever you want to do. It was sad for me because he was my father and I loved him. But uh, but the good thing was he was not sending me negative energy anymore. So day by day, as I was doing my work and fighting with those challenges, so it's just attracted the attention of some medias, that CNN just contacting me via the Untamed Border, and also other medias like Telegraph UK or other websites, or the magazines were contacting me anymore. So when I just started to be famous internationally, many and many travelers from all around the world were sending me positive energy. So were just supporting me in a way. So on that time, I just told myself, come on, Fatima, now you are not alone. A world watches your back. So you are not alone, and you are not fighting alone. The world is fighting together with you. So on that time I felt more and more strong, and just I continued to be a tour guide, and I decided, and I was planning to just teach my students beside English, how to be a tour guide. And I was teaching them, and I was planning to have my own tourism organization and touristic company for just guiding tours in the future. Unfortunately, something like a nightmare. I wish it would be a nightmare, but it was not. It was the reality that Taliban just captured Afghanistan, and I left everything behind.
What a story, Fatima. I don't even know what to say. For all of you who are watching us live, which there are many of you right now, if you have any questions, this is a live Q&A, right? So this is an opportunity to ask any questions to Fatima that you may have. You can post them in the comments, whatever you're watching us, whether it's on YouTube, on Facebook, in the group, in the various pages where the stream is being posted right now. Say hi, tell us where you are. If you've been, if Fatima has guided you, which I know you guided many people because many reached out to me. In fact, the picture that's on the screen was taken, and that was on the one that was on the cover of the CNN article, was taken by Romain, right? I think he gave me this photo as well. So thank you for giving me the photo. Quite a few people reached out to me saying that you guided them. And so, you know, you've definitely touched many lives, even though you only guided for what, 4 or 5 months, right, before COVID arrived, and then tourism kind of declined quite a bit in Afghanistan. So even in those few months, you still have managed to touch the lives of many people that are going to Afghanistan, right? And tell me, I have so many questions for you, right? So where you didn't finish your degree in journalism, right? You still have, you are what, halfway through maybe?
No, I didn't finish. I was on the second year of university. At the same time, I was teaching my students, I was guiding tours, and I was just starting my university there.
And do you want to finish your degree now, maybe in Italy or in some other place? Is your plan to continue?
Surely, I want to finish. I just don't only want to finish my degree here. I want to, surely when I came here, yeah, it's hard for me to be here in a new country, new culture. But, you know, at the same time, it is an opportunity for me. Afghanistan needs a stronger Fatima. I was strong already, but, you know, after this, Afghanistan needs to be stronger Fatima. So I want to build my capacity here. I want to use this opportunity. I want to continue and follow whatever I was doing and following in Afghanistan. First, I need to just learn Italian language. When I learned the language, I want to just continue my education in the university in the same field, journalism. Also, I want to learn about the attractions, not only in Italy, but also all around the world. And I want to, if I could find the opportunity, I want to start guiding tours here. Maybe it is hard for me here to just start that, or a long distance it takes, but I'm sure it's not impossible. And also the same thing, I was just helping and empowering the refugee girls here. Here also a lot of Afghan refugees here. If I could find the chance and I could provide a place here, I also want to I teach voluntarily just refugee children, Afghan refugee children here too. First, I just teach them English, and the second thing, because I know English, I'm sure I will learn Italian very soon, and as I'm good in learning languages, so I also want to teach them Italian. And the fourth thing I want to do, and it's into my plan, when I was in Afghanistan, I was showing Afghanistan to the world. Right now, it's also the same. A little, just we have to see it from a different perspective and from a different view. I want to open a YouTube channel and want to show the world to Afghanistan. There I was just
I think I lost Fatima. I think Fatima might be frozen. Give us a second. I hope that she can return in a second. Probably the internet connection has failed. But give me a second. In the meantime, by all means, anybody who has any questions, please feel free to ask them. There is a question on whether she will do a virtual tour. Yes, we will get onto this just now. So she'll give us a bit of a virtual tour of Afghanistan, since probably in the near future it's not going to be likely that she'll be able to show us while there. And I'm hoping that she'll get back in a moment. But yes, we're now going to go into a virtual tour of Afghanistan through the photos that everybody has been sending me, since I've never been myself. Fatima will actually explain to us the main places: Mazar Sharif, Herat, which is where she's from, Kabul, the Pamir Lakes, and all of the area in the north of Afghanistan, the beautiful landscapes and all the heritage and historical sites. Just give us a second, because I'm guessing that her internet has dropped. In the meantime, also, we've posted in the comments, and you see it in the screen as well, there is a link to a small Fundly campaign that we have created, Meg, and I have created, just to raise some money for her so that she can get a laptop, because a lot of the remote work opportunities that she will have as somebody who can speak English is probably going to necessitate a laptop. So we have a small fundraiser to get some money that we can send to her in Italy, wherever she will go next, so she can buy herself a laptop. There we have her again. Just give me a second and I'll add her back into the
So
the
sorry,
stream.
we lost the internet connection.
No worries, Fatima, no problem. I noticed that you were frozen. I was just telling everybody that if they have any questions, they can put them in the comments. I was reminding everybody of the small Fundly campaign that we have created for her, Meg has created. Thank you, Linda, and for everybody else who has donated, thank you so much. And now we can get on a small virtual tour of the country, right? But you were telling me first that you had a fourth plan, which was to show the world to Afghanistan, and that's where I lost you.
Yes. Yeah. That was, and how do I can show the world to Afghanistan? That is just opening a YouTube or creating a YouTube channel for myself. And also, first I want to start it from Italy. I'm sure Italy is a very beautiful country, and it has lots of attractions, beautiful sights, beautiful views to be shown to just people in Afghanistan.
Awesome. So you have a very packed agenda and a very, very detailed plans for the future. And that's exciting because it's good to have something to look forward to. Now, also on your current situation, you were evacuated from Afghanistan last week, right? Wednesday or Thursday, yes. I believe, by the Italian government. And now you are in a house with your friend Nazira and a couple of kids that are being very silent right now. I see that they are keeping very quiet. I know there's a kid and a baby, right, with you right now. 2 friends, a kid and a baby. So there's quite a few of you together in a house. And as you said, you have probably 7 more days of quarantine in Italy before you can be sent somewhere else. So that's the current situation right now, right?
Yeah, surely this is quarantine time. Just getting from Afghanistan, getting out from there, and that situation, it was also a great challenge for all our group. The airport, the situation in the airport, it was worse, and Taliban were using any kind of violence to just do not let people get into the airport. The first time that we tried to get into the airport, we just came 12 at noon, but we couldn't enter till 10 at night. I remember that there was a Talib. He just straightly held his gun, and just 2 times he held his gun and just told me, go away, otherwise I will kill you. It means there for the just second time I felt I would be killed if I just don't go away. There was no space that I could go away, because there were lots of people. I even lost myself there. So there was no way for me, and I was afraid there if I just do not end my life today. So we couldn't. We were 3 just girls there on that time, and there was an American flight for us, thanks to the friends who worked all around the world. There were friends in Poland, in Spain, in France, and also America, who worked hard to just gave our names to the last. Very surprisingly, just the last days that Taliban captured Kabul, I knew that my lists, my name was on 5 lists of plane. Poland, Spain, France, America, and Italy. That just Italy was more successful, or I don't know, first to just get me into the airport and just out. The second time that we tried, we just came to the airport 3 a.m. in midnight. Then just 2 times we could get near to the airport, but Taliban just pushed us back with the gunshots, with hitting us with their guns, and also just they had something to hit people, special things, something like a tube or any kind of violence they were using there. I just really understood and realized that before that I was in doubt whether if I just leave Afghanistan or not. I was also thinking about if the Taliban is changed, but there I realized and I understood that Taliban can be never changed. They are even wilder than wild animal, you know. The way they were behaving with the humankind and with the innocent people. I saw people who were killed there. I saw people who were just bloody there. I saw people who were just died there because of the crowd and as the Taliban pushed them hard. Or you know, it was really worse and just like a very terrible nightmare. But a nightmare is not a real thing. That was the reality. Or I just remember the day that I was in Kabul. When I left Herat, I was staying in a dormitory there in Kabul. I even couldn't imagine that Taliban would capture Kabul in one day. I was waiting in Kabul that just the soldiers get back Herat from Taliban. I will return back to Herat. Then just in one day, like a nightmare, they captured Kabul. That day was the worst day of my life. You know, when the dormitory manager just knocked the door and told me, Fatima, you have to leave here. There is no space for you here, and we cannot protect you anymore here. So I was shocked and terrified. I just could take my backpack and also the suitcase that I had with myself. I left the dormitory. Everyone was running, shocked, terrified, and I thought everyone like me had no destination to go there. So just like them, I was among just a large crowd of people who were there were no space on the street. I was feeling alone there. Uh, I just on unknown street among unknown people with unknown destination. I was walking with myself. I was thinking. I was just like this, having no burqa or hijab with myself. I was just thinking, if just the Taliban just come to me and see me like this, they would just kill me straightly. Or I didn't know where to go. Even I had no tears to cry on that time. My feet was just numb to move, you know. My heart was just, I thought on that time, my heart is stopped. It was not beating anymore. And for the first time, I just found myself just like a corpse which is moving, just like a dead body which is moving. And there is no way in front of her. The lucky thing is.
And you made it to the airport, though. You walked. Did you walk to the airport?
No, I actually I didn't. I didn't walk to the airport. I just on that time we were not just. I was not supposed to leave. When I was walking, it was from 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I just walked on unknown streets in Kabul because till 8 o'clock at night. At night, just my phone just rang. I answered that, and just nearly everyone was leaving the streets, and they were just going to their homes. So as I answered the phone, it was the tour operator of a company. His house was in Kabul, which is now he's with us. He just called me, Fatima, the situation is really worse, and we gotta leave Kabul very soon. So I just asked them about the plan. They said we are going to just leave here to just Italian flight. So he told me you have to come in my house. So that was a destination for me to go to there that night. And as I just get a taxi and went there, as I was in the car, I was watching out of the window. In some parts of Kabul, I could see Taliban. Then as I just saw them, I just covered my face with the scarf I had, and I was just praying they don't care about the car, that I'm inside. So thanks to God, safely I could just reach myself to his house, and there he just decided. He told us that your list or your name is on just some flights. Flights list. So tonight we are just waiting for the Italian flight. They will call us. So on that night they didn't call us, and we just waited for tomorrow. So tomorrow at noon we just came to the airport, but unfortunately we couldn't get into the airport. And the second time, we just 2 days later, we had a flight to planned at 5 a.m. We came 3 a.m. So unfortunately we couldn't get into the airport till 5. So we just lost or missed the Poland flight. It was at noon, and so we were hopeless, and we just told getting into the airport doesn't deserve our lives. So we would be killed if the situation continues like this. Taliban do not let us. How can we get into the airport? As also we have to be careful that they don't know us. So thanks to God, we could find someone. We were sitting in somewhere, and there was one guy who asked, "Oh, do you want to get into the airport?" And we said yes. He said, "I know what, just a member of Taliban. If you just pay money to him, he will take you in front of the foreigners." So we just paid him $300, and he just took us to the area that the foreign soldiers were there. So there, luckily, actually, on 3 o'clock there was a flight to Spain, but it was when we just get near to the airport and near to the foreign soldiers, it was 12 at noon. Then, so thanks to God, an Italian just soldier found us and took us into the airport. So for the first time after Taliban captured Kabul and Afghanistan, I felt safe there in the airport because I could see no Talib there. And thanks to the Italian government and all those who just tried to get us out of Afghanistan. There were some friends here who did fundraising for us, bought flight for us, and also not only in Italy but also in Spain, Poland, France, America, and anywhere else. Anyone who was just caring about me and were asking me, "Fatima, are you safe? How are you?" You know, when I was in Afghanistan, in Kabul, everyone was asking me that, "Fatima, how can we just help you?" I didn't know what to answer them. Just in my heart, I was telling them, "So if you can please pour a just glass of cold water on my face till I just wake up and this nightmare finishes." I had no answer for them, and I'm so sorry for those who messaged me a lot and asked about my situation, but I had no words to answer them. And I need to thank them from the bottom of my heart.
Yes, I know that a lot of people were trying to help you, and that there was a large fundraising for not just you, but all the other guides as well that have had to be evacuated. Also, you mentioned to me yesterday that one of the reasons that you managed to get out was because you have a passport, right? Which is something that I didn't consider, right? I guess that you need some sort of document to be able to board one of the military planes. And you applied to a scholarship, you told me 3 years ago, and that's why you have a passport?
Yeah, surely. Actually, so I was in Afghanistan, and I had the decision to go nowhere, but surely my university was really important for me to, I wanted to be a really just professional journalist. So I just applied for a scholarship, and I just passed the two, it had three parts of exam. Two one of them was exam, and the third one was an interview. So I just could pass the two exams, so I was hopeful and for that scholarship. So I just got my passport, and I was ready for that. So in interview, I just received no answer, no email. So yeah, thanks to God, I had my passport with myself that I could enter to the airport, because without that, also they even just foreign soldiers, they didn't let us to get inside. And also the people here in Italy, those who just did the fundraising for us, they just also were in contact with the soldiers there. So this was another goodness that made our work easy to get into the airport. For example, there were lots of people there, and the Italian soldier, they didn't know us. Surely he couldn't enter us to the airport. He couldn't airport that much people, because no one of them just have worked for Italians, or so he knew us, and he just asked us to get into the airport, and just showing him our passport.
Right. It feels a little bit, Fatima, that ever since you were a little girl in the mountains, and the radio, and the Red Cross who gave you the opportunity to go to school first, and then the Ukrainian tourist who hired you as a guide the first time. And it's like, a lot of people have contributed in a way to where you are today right now. And at the same time, obviously your tenacity and obviously your hard work, right? Your determination to go to school, to make handicrafts so that your mother would help you sell. Your mother's support as well, right? In all of this, she helped you to sell and to raise some money so that you could continue going to school and take the exam and go to university. And through your journey, right, lots of people have come into your life and helped you in some way or another, inspired, I'm sure, by your story and by your hard work and determination to get there, right? I'm sure it wasn't easy. So I think your story is very inspiring to a lot of us. And without further ado, I think I could talk to you forever, right? I think that everything you say is always very interesting, very fascinating, also because you are only 23 years old, right?
Yes, I'm 23 years old. Yeah. So
you are
thank
so
you
young and yet so like, so I don't even know what the word is, so insightful and so thoughtful and so mindful of everything, even though you're only 23, right? So most of us will not have this maturity at, in our 40s, right? So I think it's great if we can have if you can maybe tell us a little bit about your country, right? Because there's never any good stories coming out of Afghanistan, right? Except for yours, that the one that's on the screen, that was a good, hopeful story coming out of the country, right? But it's difficult to read anything good, right? So that's why we thought it would be nice for you to tell us a little bit about the country, right? To tell us about the good parts, the heritage, the historical part of Afghanistan that have been around since ancient times, some of them, right? So most people don't actually know that there are a lot of beautiful places to see in the country, right? So I thought, who better than you than to tell us about this, right? So we have some images from the country that you probably have never seen before. And Fatima will give us a very nice tour of it. So we'll start with just some facts. I just put some facts on the screen so that people have a bit of perspective, right? I think nowadays everybody knows where Afghanistan is on the map, right? Everybody understands all the, the borders, so many countries bordering Afghanistan, right? From Turkmenistan to Iran, Pakistan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, even China, right? The country has 37 million people and 60% is below the age of 25, right? Most people are young like you and younger, right? And I think a lot of people also may not know that Kabul is quite cold, right? Kabul is at 1,800 meters. So even now it's quite cold, right? It must have been chilly at night when the sun sets.
Yeah, surely. Just to talk generally about Afghanistan, for the world travelers, I'm sure Afghanistan is a must to be seen. Afghanistan, it is just the heart of Asia, a home to just 37 million people, and also it's locked, and also at the crossroad of South and Central Asia. It has lots of touristic and also historical sites, which I'm sure if anyone made his just trip to Afghanistan, they enjoyed Afghanistan most. Even for some of the people, for some of the world travelers, as I talk to them, Afghanistan is a priority to be seen and to be visited. Afghanistan actually is consisted of different tribes with different languages, different cultures. It has just 34 provinces, and in each just province there are just different languages, people with different languages and different tribes. The diversity in culture, in food, in just hospitality, in just the historic sites, the unique beauty of each city in Afghanistan is a story for the world travelers to be discovered.
Which language do you speak?
Actually, my mother language is Dari. I also can speak Pashto. Pashto and Dari is the two national languages in Afghanistan. People in Afghanistan speaks to more than 31 languages, but the Dari and Pashto are the most famous ones, and they are national languages of Afghanistan.
Right. Beautiful. And I think let's start with the north, right? This part that I bet most people have never even seen, right? The Bandemir Lakes. So tell me a little bit about those beautiful lakes.
Actually, yes, this is the Amir Dam or Bandamir. This is in Bamiyan. Bamiyan, is the heart of history, not only in Afghanistan, but also I think it's the heart of history in all around the world. Right now, Nazira, she's sitting next to me. She's from Bamiyan and also from just Bandamir. Uh, this is the first national park of Afghanistan. uh, it has 7 dams and also just a beautiful view and landscape that I think it is one of the most amazing places in Afghanistan for the world travelers to just visit there. I'm sure if they just visit there, they will enjoy the most and they would be never regretful there. Bandar, beside being the just beautiful water, it has beautiful landscape, beautiful dams, and beautiful wells that it has. It is just a place for just business for women too. If we just go around, there are lots of women who are just have a kind of very small business. They are selling their handicrafts or any other thing, exchanging things there. It is one of the places in Afghanistan that attracts a lot of just travelers or a lot of tourists to there. It is a really great spot for the tourism industry in Afghanistan. The first national park and the most beautiful places in Afghanistan. As you see in the picture, I'm sure this picture is nice, yeah, surely. But if you just visit that in person and if you just go there, it is another world. You will just feel separate yourself in a um, from just apart from other part of the world. It's really different and also it's really beautiful, and you will just feel yourself in heaven. Bandamir, Bamiyan, especially Bandamir, is the heaven of Afghanistan. The safest place. It was the safest place before Taliban, and it was one of the places that people from different countries, from different provinces of Afghanistan were there, and there was a great exchange of culture, diversity of culture, and many other points.
And here people can swim, right? You can get into the water and like swim a little bit inside.
Yeah, surely they can swim there, they can ride the small boats that they are, and they can enjoy their trip and their holidays there.
Nice, very nice. I think this is my favorite place in Afghanistan, even though I haven't been, right? But those are the ones that I always think like Mazar Sharif must be very beautiful.
Yeah, actually, Mazar is really beautiful. Afghanistan generally has 3 blue mosques. One of them is in Kabul, one of them is in Mazar, and one of them is in Herat. This is the beautiful and the blue mosque in Mazar. According to the legends, Imam Ali, he is the first Imam of Shiites. Actually, in Afghanistan, there are 2 just big religions. One of them is Sunni and one of them is Shiites. This is Imam Ali is the first Imam of Shiites, and he is very holy, not only for Shiite but also for Sunni people. Also, he is really considered him as a holy guy, as he was the just brother-in-law and also the cousin of Prophet Muhammad, the Islam last prophet who just they believe, or according to the documentary and Holy Quran, he was our last and the one who completed Islam. So he did a lot to Islam. That's why he's holy. According to the legend, when he just passed away, before his death, he just advised just his son Hassan to just put me in coffin and just put my coffin on just white camel, then just let the camel go wherever just he goes on the desert. So the white camel just was carrying Imam Ali's just dead body just into the coffin, and he walked just the white camel walked a lot in the desert, and finally he just stopped in this spot, the spot which is now the shrine. So there was chosen to be his shrine and also his grave. You know, some people also believe that Imam Ali was just had separated into 4 souls, which one of them is in Iran, Najaf, Iran or Iraq. I think they also believe Imam Ali's dead body is there, but they believe here. So people, it is beside being a touristic site, and also it attracts lots of tourists. It is also a favorite just place for lots of tourists and travelers. Beside that, it is a religious place for and a holy place for people all around the provinces of Afghanistan. They just come here and pray. They believe because Imam Ali was innocent and he was a really nice king guy for the people, especially Muslims. If we just come here, pray for God, God will just, our wishes would come true sooner.
The mosques, the blue mosques, are very much similar to the mosques and the beautiful buildings that you find along the Silk Road, right?
Yes, and you know the beautiful thing is here that when we just go to these blue mosques, the space is very peaceful. We just feel the real peace there. It is, I think, it is a good place for meditation. You know, especially this mosque in Mazar, it has lots of white pigeons, white birds. And according to another religion, people believe that all the pigeons who are there, they are whites. They believe that if a white pigeon just come here after 30 years, it would be turned to white. If the pigeon is in any color, if it stays here for 40 days, it would turn to white.
Right. Yes, I think I've seen pictures of the pigeons in some of the images of Mazar. Yes, you're right. And then here you have more close-ups of the...
yes, like you see in Burqa, in Mazar.
Yes, I mean, it's a bit of a combination, right? You also see the ladies without, right? More dressed like you, I suppose, right?
Yeah,
more
sure.
like just with jeans as well. And that's another shrine also in Mazar, right? Also the blue domes.
Oh, yes.
It's very beautiful, all the tiles, the blue tiles and so on. It's just, I guess people don't realize, right, that Mazar, that Afghanistan has these beautiful places.
Yes, actually, the tiles or the design of the shrines are highly detailed with the blue tiles, with different kinds of design. You know, actually, it is most of the designs of the mosques in Afghanistan is from Timurids. Timurid was a kingdom, and mostly they're similar to the mosques in Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Iran, and also it's just some mosques in India, because they ordered the architectures from India, Samarkand, and also Iran to just come here and design the mosques. That's why I'm sure the travelers can find the great similarities between these mosques.
Yes, absolutely. To me, they look exactly like the same ones in Uzbekistan, Samarkand, Timurlan, right? In the end, they look the same, right? The same color of tile, the same design, the same, patterns on the tiles. It's just very beautiful, so detailed, because, right?
Yeah, because they have the same architectures. That's why.
And these are from what, the 13th, 14th century, something like that?
Yeah, 12th to 13th century. Most of them are from, for example, this mosque is from 12th century.
Really old buildings, right? 800 years old. Yeah. Now, Herat is your favorite city, I'm sure, right?
Oh yeah, Herat is where I just have lots of memories, and my heart is just left there. This is the Blue Mosque of Herat. Before Islam, actually, this mosque, a kind of temple for the Zoroastrian. They were just praying their own God. After people in Herat just converted to Islam, they built this temple, or just destroyed that and made a small wooden mosque. This mosque was destroyed by, I think, by an earthquake. And then just when the Ghurids also, they are an empire in Afghanistan. Orits were from Gor province, where I just spent my childhood there. They just built Sultan Qiyasuddin Qori, the king, who built this mosque, and also it has two parts. So the northern part was built by his son. This is really big. It has the capacity to take more than 100,000 prayers at once. It has lots of peaks, stumps, and also the blue tiles, which are designed, which the mosque is designed by them. They are from the architecture is from Orid periods, but the design is from Timurid just periods, the same as mosques in just Tajikistan or just Iran in Samarkand. This is also designed by the blue tiles. There is a tile factory, the central tile factory of Afghanistan. It is in Herat. There are not a lot of people who are working with that, but there are some people who they are really just old, and they are just continuing the work of their father. It means they work generation to generation. Their tiles, the tiles doesn't have a kind of matching to be designed by or to be made, that they are just making or creating these just complicated but very beautiful and detailed tiles with their hands. They are handmade, and it has lots of process. First, it is a kind of very simple clay. Then they just mix that with water. After, they just create a kind of shape, and they put that into a baker. They bake that. After that, they use different things to create color, things like copper or just lead or iron. They create different colors. The main colors are seven colors, and they just color those tiles. And there are some specialists who design them with the just special tools that they have, and they also just design them with different flowers and many other steps till they just prepare these tiles.
We have a couple of questions on the tiles for you, Fatima. Let's see. One question is, I don't know who asked the question, but one question is the color blue special? Because all the mosques across the Silk Route, they are all blue, right? So is there a reason for the color blue?
Actually, yes, because most of them, they are blue because just one reason is because of the religious reasons. Most of the mosques who have just been they have been built they are because of in the past, from the time of, for example, prophet and also imams, they have been built in blue. Just and also the second reason, this is the how can I say, this is the art of Timurids, which Timurids all they designed. They worked a lot on art in every country like Afghanistan, Iran, or just Samarkand. They have just designed the blue their tiles with blue. And the third, they just designed them in blue because they believe blue is a color of peace beside the white. I'm sure just whether you guys you experienced to go to there or not, but when you go to there, you just feel quite safe and peaceful. Most of my guests, when I just took them there in the Blue Mosque, they were telling we don't want to get out of here, and they were just really feeling safe and peaceful. It's very just even I myself, when I go there, I just like to sit there and watch the beautiful views, the beautiful design. It is beside being with designed with flowers, there are some Islamic writings, some poets, and also some just verses of Holy Quran are written there, and they are designed by that. That's it. And also it is very big.
Yes, I think we have some pictures to have a perspective of how big it is, yes. The complex, right? Because I think that, yeah, here at the bottom left, right, you have a bit, it's an entire square, right? It's huge.
Yeah, surely. And you know, it is known as the 5th biggest mosque in the world. I think the 2 is in Mecca, Medina, one is in Pakistan, and I forgot another one in Tajikistan or not, but this one is the just fifth biggest one. Or I think one is in Karbala, I don't know, in Iraq, but this is the fifth one. And in the picture, you see the views. The other views are all from the Blue Mosque in Herat. But there's one in the corner that is a kind of tomb. That is a tomb of Gohashat. Gohashat was just queen of Timurid times. Shahrukh Mirza, he was the son of Timurlang. And then Gohashat was the just wife of. In that time, Gohashat was really active poet, writer, politician, and the one who worked on culture and on women's rights a lot. Now she's really loved in Herat. We have streets by the name of Gohashat. We, in this area, the complete area is called by the name of complex. A complex, it means there were just 9 minarets that Gohashat ordered to the architectures to build that, and she herself offered the map for that. She just, for the first time, she built just religious school there, university, just like a university, a mosque there, and unfortunately, just when a king of Afghanistan by the name of Abdurrahman, he just signed an agreement with the I think English or Britain at that time. So they just he just destroyed this part due to the agreement that they have built. There were 9 minarets there, and from those 9 minarets, 5 of them are remain. The rest is destroyed. One of them is destroyed by a natural, I think it was flood, natural disaster, and the others are destroyed by the just soldiers or army of Amir Abdurrahman Khan.
Right. And you can see actually here in the top left picture, right? I don't know if people can realize that inside some of the designs, there's writing. It's Arabic writing, right? Is it Arabic?
Yeah, there are Arabic writings, and also some poets, Persian, but they are just poems that are written by poets. In this area, there is also a garden, a beautiful garden by the name of Gohashat Garden, that is special for women. Women can go there in the morning. They can go for running, bicycle, and this is the only place that women are allowed to ride their bikes or to run or to just be happy and enjoy their holidays.
Right. So that's the mosque. I think I have another picture of the mosque, right? Like that's the same complex, right? The same square.
Yeah. This is actually the mosque has 4 entrance door. When you come to the yard of the mosque, this is an entrance door to the inside of the mosque.
These domes are so beautiful. These massive gates that you find in Samarkand, in Iran, they are just so beautiful, right?
Yeah.
And so
I
well
just
preserved.
remember. Yes, right now I'm just feeling myself there. My heart is there. When I was entering from that door, and when I was coming out, I just felt myself one of the most proud girl in the world. Oh God.
It's beautiful. Herat is the most beautiful part of Afghanistan, right? There's the most sights to see, and it's not just the mosques, the medieval mosque from the 12th, 13th century, but also the citadel, right?
Yeah, surely. Citadel is also one of the most important just historic sites, not only in Herat, but also in Afghanistan. This citadel, just to tell you the story, it was first a simple, just a kind of simple castle for a girl by the name of Shamira. She was living there. When just Alexander, he wanted to attack Afghanistan, especially Herat, people or used it as a military base to just fought against Alexander. When Alexander just captured there, so he just built a larger castle or citadel. Then that's why one of the name of this castle is Alexander Castle. So this castle also had different period of construction and destructions. It was first built in 330 before Christ. I think it has a history more than 3,000 years ago. Then it is always beside being a castle, it is always used as a military base in different wars, civil wars, and also in Afghan English wars, Soviet Union with Afghans in Herat, with different reasons. It is just has two parts. The one part is the private part for the king and his family, and the second part is a military base for just defending the cities. It is big and quite beautiful from also the architecture and of Timurids. Also here during the Timurids, a commander by the name of Ikhtiaruddin has just rebuilt or reconstructed this castle. So also this castle is called by the name of the Ikhtiaruddin too. I think the US embassy and also Germany and different organization like Aga Khan Trust, they have tried to just rebuild and renovate this castle many times.
Right. It looks like it's pretty well preserved, considering how old. Some parts of it, at least, look like it's quite well preserved, right? And here you have an area. Like here's where people can see the entire mosque area, right? At the top right side, you can see like all the 4 entrances that we were just looking.
Yeah. There is a mosque there by the name of Khirqa Mosque. That is also a really old mosque. And this part in the picture in the corner, this is the back of the citadel. Actually, it has lots of towers, but the tower here in the corner, that is the biggest one. When you go there, you can see a beautiful view of the city.
Right. These were pictures actually from a friend of mine who works with the Red Cross. And I think this is probably, you mentioned Bamiyan at the beginning, right? This is probably is this the oldest site in Afghanistan? The oldest historical site?
Actually, yes, it is. It is very in the past. This place, it means Buddhas. Actually, not only Buddhas, but Bamiyan was the center of Buddhism in the world. You know, people from China and other countries, they came to Bamiyan for learning Buddhism. It means they were a school for Buddhism, and also a part of just Silk Road, just across from here. People were going and coming. This was a really strategic place in the past, and there were two really big Buddhas there by the name of Salsal and Shamama. Shamama was, I think, 55-meter high, and this Salsal was 37-meter high. And it was first these two just Buddhas, which were very important not only for Afghanistan but also for all travelers all around the world. It was one of the nicest attractions that could reflect on the history of Buddhism in Afghanistan. They were excluded by Taliban, I think, in 2001. I'm so sorry.
It wasn't long ago.
Being a little water.
No worries. It was not so long ago that in this hole on the mountain, right? That's where the giant Buddha used to be not so long ago, right? So I remember that when I shared the session in some of the Facebook groups, there were a couple of people who said that they have seen it, right? Because if you had visited Afghanistan 20 years ago, you could have seen the big Buddha that was there.
Yeah,
Probably you didn't see it, right? You were too little to see it. But maybe, did your parents see the Buddha?
Actually, because my parents were not living there, no, they also didn't have. I just went Bamiyan and I see the Buddhas, but not the just complete one. They were all destroyed. But maybe Nazira, I don't know. Buddha به طور کامل دیدی تا خراب نشه؟ دیدیم چی پیشش خراب شده؟ Okay. So she was also small because she's born on 2004, so she didn't see it. It was destroyed on 2001. There in just next to the Buddhas, there are lots of caves. When you go to Bamiyan, there are lots of people with different culture. They live in just caves there. I think their life is simple, but I think quite beautiful. Bamiyan is very famous in the hospitality of people. The people in Bamiyan, they're really hospitable, and most of the just tourists who just went to Bamiyan. They are telling Bamiyan is one of the safest area of Afghanistan. Actually, we named that the paradise of Afghanistan too, where you can feel yourself in heaven. For example, when just people came to Herat, or my tourists, I couldn't just let them walk a lot on the streets because the situation was a little conservative. But here in Bamiyan, you could do whatever you wanted. You just, if you like to walk, you could walk kilometers and kilometers. So I'm worried right now. The Taliban just captured back Afghanistan, and I hope they do not do anything bad with these historic sites, especially the Buddhas in Bamiyan, which is a great wealth, not only for Bamiyan, but also for Afghanistan. And also it is a interesting place for just wonderful and interesting place for the travelers to be visited.
Yeah, because the mosques are safe, right? Nothing will happen to the rest of the heritage, but these Buddhist sites have no Islamic value, right? They are Buddhist. And these are the caves that you were talking about, right? The troglodyte houses in Bamiyan. People still live there?
Surely people still live there. There are lots of people who are living in the caves. They have their home, and the good thing or the beautiful thing is they are enjoying their lives there. They just kept the culture of just being in caves, and they continue with that. There are just cave schools. It means people in Bamiyan really like to. They are the most open-minded people in Afghanistan. Bamiyan is one of the provinces that just women had the majority of their rights. If we compare to other, they were never forced to wear, for example, a hijab or burqa, or they never forced what to do. They were doing their sports. We had lots of girls who were skiing, riding bicycles. We had marathon there in Bamiyan. It was one of the places, I think, a heaven for women too. So there are also some schools who is in the shape of caves, and just because children there, not only children but also people up to educate, so they were sending their just children to go to there and educate.
Right. Yeah, Bamiyan looks very beautiful. Then we have some pictures of Kabul, right? Although Kabul doesn't have a lot of tourist sites, right?
Yeah, Kabul doesn't have a lot of just touristic sites, but surely it has some sites like, for example, National Museum, Babar Garden. This is the picture you see. This is Sahih Shrine. This is also a shrine. I told you 3 blue mosques in Afghanistan. This is one of them. This is also really beautiful, peaceful, with the white pigeon. This is where that people believe in. When Imam Ali just came to Afghanistan with his caravan, he just stopped here and he stayed here in one night, and he just ordered to build a mosque here. So that is why this mosque is also very religious. People from different provinces of Afghanistan go to there to pray to God, because they believe if we pray here, our prayers would come true sooner and just in an easier way. Here also in Kabul, actually, there is also Alai Balahisar. Balahisar is also a kind of castle, and they're nice. Just they are not a lot, but the ones who are there, they are really nice.
Right. And then I read about this, right? The box cameras, the camera boxes where people can take photos, right? I've even seen a video that was shared on Untamed Borders website, or Facebook page, if anybody wants to go and watch it. But it's basically a camera, right, to take pictures. I guess digital cameras are not so common, right? So if people need to take a picture for a passport or something, this is what they would do it, right? So these boxes, from what I've seen in the video, you can take the photo and develop the photo also within the box, right?
Yes. Yeah. We could see from these cameras, box cameras, in some museums. For example, in National Museum in Herat, there was one of these cameras. And also the guy who just you see here holding the camera, he was, I think, the only guy who was using this camera in Afghanistan. That's why he's very famous, and his photos are on just some websites.
Right, so there you go. He became famous.
Really cute. This is really cute, and I just used it once when I was in museum.
Nice.
And
nice.
Yes, the most beautiful, interesting, amazing, and wonderful place in Afghanistan where it is very untouched, Wakhan crater. Uh, okay, just the life here, it is here. This is the remotest part in Afghanistan with completely different people, completely different culture, completely different style of life, and very beautiful. It's hard, it's really hard to get there because most of the transportation is done by animal like donkey, horse, cows. But you know, you also can use a car to go there, but also it is hard. You have to have lots of tires. Maybe your tire, lots of tires blow up and you can go there. It is one of the highest and near to Uzbekistan and Hindu Kush mountains. People there, they have completely different culture. It was also one of the safest places in Afghanistan. uh, People who just you see also in the picture, this is the style of their clothing, very interesting and completely different. You know, they are really friendly due to, I'm sure they are really poor, but they don't have lots of facilities for their life. They do not use, they are not using technologies, they are not using, for example, very beautiful homes, they are not using they don't have lots of facilities. Only their work is just cultivation, agriculture, and also just training animals. Yes, they, I think they even don't know what is money, but recently, yeah, surely they know, but in the past they even didn't know what is money. But they have a very friendly life, you know. I think this is one of the really untouched, beautiful, and touristic sites of Afghanistan. The people there mostly they live under the tents, and they, if even they have, they, their homes are built, they're very simple homes with clay, not clays, just not brick but mods. I think something like this, but they are very simple.
Yes, it looks very beautiful, right? When you look at the landscapes, if you go online and you Google Bakan border, Bakan corridor, you will see these beautiful mountains, right? Like you say, very high elevation, the horses, yeah. Are they nomads? Do they move with their animals?
Yeah. The life is kind of, they have a kind of rural life, but also migration style. They just move from one place to another place, season to season. They just need for water and green grasses for their animals, so, and also surely for themselves. So they also they have to move from one place to another place. They also, they have their own tradition and they never change that. I think there is a very famous traditional sport there, and that is buskashi.
Yes, we have some
Buskashi.
photos of Puskashi. Shall I show them so that you can explain it a bit better? Because I think the picture tells 1,000 words. Oh, I don't
Yeah,
know why. There you go.
yes, Buzkashi is really, really famous there in all parts of Afghanistan. But here was one of the main part that this sport was the main sport of the people. In other just provinces of Afghanistan, if they could use Buzkashi or they did Buzkashi, they were doing that because of maybe political reasons, but or any other reasons. But here it is the really beautiful entertainment of people having a horse and riding just the horse. There is a dead body of a goat. You have to just take and the goat and take it to this to the destination, which is clarified. So they don't know anyone there on the land, and they have to be as smart as they can. There were
So
people who they don't care about anything. They may be injured there or they may be hurt there, but they don't care. Each one should take care of himself and should just take the goats. This is really interesting, and also it's famous all around the world because of this.
yeah, it's a very unique game, right? So you need to
Yeah,
take
very.
the carcass. You take the carcass of a dead goat, which you can see on some of the pictures, right? There's one here, there's one here, there's there's like dead carcasses of goats, and you need to get it to the goalpost, as if you're playing football, but you're on a horseback, and the ball is the carcass of a dead goat, right? So as you say, it can become quite violent, right? People fall from
Yeah.
horses, people hurt each other. It's just like very raw and very unique, right? And from what I've seen from the
Yes.
pictures, you can see here, there's a big audience of people watching.
Yeah, surely. There is a legend. People there in Wuhan. Um, if, for example, someone wanted to get married with a lady, first he had to be the winner of a buskashi. It means the boy had to participate here. He had to just win the game, and then he could get married with that girl. Otherwise, he couldn't.
Right. So there was an incentive to win at this game.
Yes.
And then I also wanted to show some parts of the country that are maybe less typical, right? Like, for example, what does food look like in Afghanistan? What is the typical food that you eat?
Okay. So let me tell you the truth. It's, I think, around 1 week and a half we are in Italy. I really miss Afghan food. My heart is blessed with the Afghan food there. The picture you see, there are three kinds of food there. One of them is ashak. Ashak is very, very famous, and it is one of my favorite food there. I hope just I can find the material here in Italy, and I want to cook one day. Maybe you can be my guest one day if I just could find. But it is really, really delicious, and people really love that. Just obli also, it is very famous.
So which
Obli
one is which? Which one is which?
Which one is which?
Yeah, which dish is which? So the one on the left is kebabs, right? Like kebabs, grilled meats, and so on, right?
Yes, yes.
In the middle
Yeah,
is
yeah.
a rice dish. That's like the most common dish in
Yeah,
Afghanistan, which is like a rice dish. And then on the
Obli.
right-hand side is like sort of momos, right? Like
Yes,
dumplings.
that is called ashak.
Okay.
Yes. And many other foods. Each tribe had their own food there in Afghanistan.
So which one do you want to cook? You want to cook the dumplings or the rice? I think you might be able to make the pasta, right? Because at least in Italy they'll have lots of pasta.
Yeah, actually, but pasta is not used there, That
Yes,
is
you don't need
called
a lot of pasta.
yes, that is called oshak. I need flour, I need vegetables there, and I need some peas and also yogurt. I think we can find them and we can cook them here.
You can bring Afghan food to Italy. And the rice, what's in the dish with the rice? Is it meat in it? Is there lamb or what is in it?
Actually, it's carrot, and I forgot the name of the dry grapes.
Raisins.
In the middle, the food in the middle, kabli.
Yes, raisins, right? Raisins.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah,
But
that is cooked by that. And also you need oil, and also you need lamb there. Lamb, or it can be also cooked by chicken.
Right. Yes.
And
I think you will probably be able to make the rice dish as well.
Yeah, surely. Actually, in Afghanistan, different tribes have different local foods. For example, these are the very national food of Afghanistan, but each tribe had their own. For example, in Herat, the very famous food was called qolor turush.
And what does it consist of?
Actually, it consists of also flour, yogurt, tomato. Because I don't know how to cook that. I also don't know the whole materials, but it is very delicious and it is sour. Then, for example, Hazaregi local food was called kashkau, leti, then halwa.
Halwas, yes.
They were interesting, and yeah, each tribe had their own food. So these foods are really famous in Afghanistan, and people love them. Mostly this one, ashak.
The dumplings.
Yeah. I can cook this one. I'm not a good cook, but a good cook. But I can cook this one very just professionally.
Awesome. Then maybe you can open a restaurant for Afghan food in Italy. And the other thing that's famous of Afghanistan is carpets, right? I'm sure that there are very beautiful carpets.
Yeah, carpet was a really good business for Afghans. It is a really great industry, because the economic in Afghanistan is not really good. There were a lot of people who are poor. So this was a kind of business also for the families who wanted to feed their children. Mostly families and children just they create a kind of very close and friendly space. The families gather together, they talk together, drink tea, and also see these carpets. They're really expensive, and in the past the trade of carpets was all around the world and it was very famous. It is not hard to see that, it is not easy to see that. It takes a lot of time, but it was also a good industry in Afghanistan, especially in Herat. Most of my guests or most of the tourist friends who I just guided them, this was I always took them to these carpet shops, and I, as a souvenir, this is a good souvenir too. They bought one or two and just took to their country as a souvenir. uh, they are really mostly they traded it to Dubai, Turkey, Iran, and also Pakistan. There were some countries who just even claimed that these Afghan carpets with they just use their own marks in on these carpets, and they just claim that these are carpets who just created in our own country.
Right. And then I also have some pictures that were sent by Amanda. Amanda sent me some pictures, which I think, looking by the way people are dressed, must be from the Wakan corridor as well, right? Is that right?
Yeah, that is maybe from there, or even Badakhshan, and also Panjshir people. Yeah, people in different parts of Afghanistan had their own different. There was a great diversity in the culture and also tradition. Some of the traditions were really nice. For example, here, men and women gathered together. They are celebrating something. They are dancing together, wearing beautiful clothes, not just a traditional clothes, and they are celebrating things. For example, there are just celebrations by the name of Eid. There in Herat, people during Eid, for example, me or my family had to visit all the families and relatives that we had in Herat in Eid. We had to go to their home, and we just cooked special foods, just bought special fruits, and just we gathered together under a nice platform with tea is very famous in Afghanistan. We just drank a lot of tea, and we were talking together, laughing together, dancing together, and we were doing so many things. And this is also a part of that tradition. uh, this is Afghan dancing is also very famous and also beautiful, but it is also a kind of different. Or if we just consider the singers or the music in Afghanistan, we had different kinds of music and local musics that were really interesting. And this tradition or culture of Afghanistan is also a good reason for just attracting the tourists from different countries.
Yes, hopefully peace will return soon and we will all be able to visit, right? And we already talked about Butsaki. And that was all for the virtual tour. But for those who are watching us, if you have any questions, this is your chance to ask Fatima and Nazira. If you have any questions about Afghanistan in general, about her story and her journey, about her plans, we also put together here a reminder of the small fund that we have created for Fatima to help you hopefully get a laptop so that you can work online, and also other organizations that you can donate that are doing great work. The Red Cross is not leaving Afghanistan, it's staying there. It has been there for a few decades. I talked to a friend of mine who works there in Afghanistan in the Red Cross, and she told me the Red Cross stays. So you know that you can donate to their Afghan crisis response. There's also the Aga Khan Development Network, which has been in the country for many, many years. Afghan Aid, Turquoise Mountain, but I know that there are many other organizations. So we will put them in the comments of this post as we discover them. There are other fundraisings being done by a variety of organizations. I also know there's an organization called opendoorpolicy.io that is helping or is trying to place refugees, not just from Afghanistan, but other places, but primarily Afghan refugees into online jobs. So you can also, if you are hiring for online positions, you can contact the organization and they'll help you put in touch. Hopefully is that what the type of work that you would like to find, Fatima? Some sort of online job that you can use your English and do something to support yourself and finish your degree? Or would you like to find a job in Italy, in Milan, wherever you are being sent after the quarantine?
Actually, first thing I need is I have to work online, because first it's quarantine, and the second thing I think I need is I have to just learn Italian, so when I just came here, it means I'm a resident of here. I have to adapt myself here. So the first thing I need is to learn the language here. So because I just know English, I want to I want to start a kind of online job. Maybe it is a kind of translation for the magazines who their work is to translate from Persian to English or English to Persian. I don't know. I just can do this. Or the second thing I want to just start very soon, that is opening a YouTube channel, and I want to start it as soon as possible, and I hope I can do it. Because I was just studying journalist there in Herat, so I know already. I know how to, for example, edit a video, or at least for now, for myself, for my own YouTube channel, for the first steps, I think it's good.
Right, and then you will finish your journalism degree in Italy. Do you know already if you will have to start from scratch, or if you will be able to convert some of the degree that the courses that you have taken in Afghanistan?
Actually, because I'm sure the education system is completely different with the education system in Herat or whole Afghanistan. So if I just start from the second year of the university, I'm sure I cannot be a good journalist here, because I'm sure the things that Italian have studied in these 2 years, maybe I didn't study them. So I will just I won't be as professional as I just expected. So that's why I want to start from the first.
Right, and then I'm guessing also that you're going to also help other refugees, because I see you're in the house with Nazira and with another girl, former colleague of yours, and then the 2 kids, but they don't speak English, right? So are you going to help? You were telling me earlier that you want to help translate and help the other refugees. Do you know how many there are of you in Italy right now?
Actually, the flight that we came here, I think it was 100, but I know more and more people who came there, and they are in other cities. So in the area that we are, so I think there would be lots of Afghan refugees that I can help them. If in the future I could just provide maybe a room, or I don't know, a very small house, and I could just I want to just teach them English first, and then because I'm sure I can learn Italian very soon. So I want to also, if there were any problem with the Italian language, I also want to teach them. So there are Afghan girls. I also can follow my dreams there in Afghanistan here too. For example, I can talk about my touristic or just tourism experiences to them, and I can just teach them how to be tour guides too. Maybe in the future, I hope just the situation in Afghanistan gets better, and just we see again the peaceful Afghanistan, and we can just go there and just serve our people, ourselves, our country, and anyone there.
If the situation improves, would you like to return?
Surely, if just the situation gets better there, and I just feel there is no danger for me, and I just already I just finished my education here, and I was just empowered, and I knew that right now I'm as powerful, as strong as Afghanistan needs me. Surely I will turn back to my country. My country is like my mother, and a child can never leave just her or his mother, even if her mother or his mother is bad.
Wow, you are really a very inspiring woman, Fatima, with so much
Thank you.
resilience and so much tenacity and determination to do better, right? To do something and to make a difference, right? So I think it's very inspiring at your young age what you have been through, and then to start from scratch. And I see at least you have some people around you, so you're not completely alone. But at the same time, I'm sure that they are going to rely on you a lot because you speak English, and you're very like go-getter and can-do attitude that I'm sure is going to take you very far.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
Thank
sure.
you, but yeah, thank you so much. Actually, but still, I have a problem with speaking English. I'm not very perfect because it's my second language. In Herat, I very just recently I decided to go on and study my English. I wanted to improve it, and I have decided to pass the TOEFL IBD test. So I just bought the materials for myself. I was doing my self-study at home at night. I had a program for that, but unfortunately, I couldn't finish the self-study with myself. So here, maybe I can go on with that too.
Yes, and you already were talking to me in Italian, so I think your Italian is going to be ready very soon as well.
Yeah, I can just at least right now I just learned how to greet someone in Italian.
Well, at least if they are going to be putting you somewhere in Milan, then Milan is a big city, right? There's a lot of people. You're going to be able to meet locals and interact with Italians and be able to practice online as well. So hopefully your Italian will be as good as gold very soon.
Actually, yes, in Afghanistan, I was really a social girl. I had a lot of friends. My mom was sometimes she was telling me the whole Afghanistan is your friend. So here I want the whole Italian as my friends.
I think it's the right spirit, Fatima. It's the right spirit. You will definitely meet lots of people and make lots of friends, I'm sure. I'm sure. And I want to
Thank you.
thank you very much for taking the time to prepare, your explanations of every place, for taking the time to talk to us today and to everybody. There's so many people that have been watching your live. And if anybody's watching the replay, which I'm sure many will, for those who are already asleep or not yet awake today, you can post questions in the comments because Fatima is also in the group. So maybe later on you can get back and answer some questions if there are more. And in the meantime, also, I leave the link at the bottom as well if you want to contribute. No amount is too small. And whenever we have enough, and Fatima, what you need to buy to continue to do your work and your study, we will send you the money so that you can, we'll find the best way to get the money to Italy.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I just thank you all, and especially you who just organized this live session, who just led me after a very tough and hard situation, and what I have just had gone through. It was really hard for me, and I experienced things that I never could imagine. So after all, I just today could I express myself. Uh, Especially, I'm happy most of the viewers are women, and I'm talking to solo travelers. When I was as a guide there in Afghanistan, I was reading some sites. Most of the solo travelers were discouraged to come to Afghanistan, but I just had guests. They were solo travelers, and I was proud of them. And they as I saw them strong, they motivated me and more. So I'm happy I could talk to them and I express myself. So thank you all.
Thank you, Fatima. Thank you so much for taking the time. And we will be in touch anyway, but I hope that you will learn Italian very soon and that you will be able to continue with your studies and find a job that fulfills you real soon.
And I hope so. So thank you all. And let's hope for the best for everyone.
Yes, exactly. I love this spirit. Have a great rest of the day, Fatima. See you.
Okay. Okay, thank you. See you in Italian. I forgot that appresto or appresto.
Arrivederci, I think. Arrivederci. I'm not Italian, but arrivederci or appresto. Maybe there are some Italians that can contribute how it is, since I'm not Italian. But
okay, yes, thank you and goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.